All right. Well, according to Zoom, we are live. Let me see.
I just got a notification here too.
Did you? Okay. Okay. It shows up live on YouTube as well. Okay. So, well, if it will let me, I'm trying to get to it so I can see the comments and it won't let me have it. Okay. Well, let's try that again. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila Karuna. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila. I am live. We are live with Jason Gray, and I'm trying to pull up the broadcast so that I can. Apparently, I'm going to have to reboot my phone. Um, this happens to me sometimes. Um, Nothing wants to cooperate. So let me just reboot there for a moment. So, Jason, I'm so glad that you could come and have a conscious conversation with me. I know that a lot of folks have been hoping that you would come back and join me again. And when we first, well, we haven't even been in here a full 5 minutes yet, actually. Um, and I wanted to, oh, wait a minute, I need to start recording. Okay, so it is Friday, September the 12th, 2025, and I'm being joined uh, by author Jason Gray, who is in Canada, and I'm in the United States.
Don't hold that against me.
No, of course not. I don't hold anything against anybody. It's silly to do that. um, when we first got in this room together, I told you that because you caught me looking at my under eye makeup, and you said that I was beautiful. I didn't need to worry about that. And I told you that my I was worried about smudges. I've been crying all day, off and on, and you asked me why. And I couldn't put my finger on it exactly until I saw your post about Charlie Kirk. And I tried to record that, I want you to know, but I couldn't get through it without blubbering even harder. And I don't mind snotting on camera, as you know. I've done it before. Um, but right after I I mean, and I did record it, and then I saw a post by Chad Prather that explained why I was feeling the way I was. I've never met that man. I have only what I know I've seen of him where he was asking young people questions, patiently hearing them out, and then giving his take on what they said. I've never seen him be rude or ugly to anyone. And I guess the kind of reactions that have been made known to me that I've been seeing, and I don't look at them because I can't, but it's like something broke inside of me. I all day, it's like my heart just keeps breaking because it feels like how far away from being human to each other has it really truly gotten.
Oh, it's it's like I my personal opinion is we're way past any point of turning anything around now.
Do you think so? I don't want to think that, Jason.
Well,
I
that's the truth.
I can't.
Like we I understand it's hard to think of and I can't predict the future. I really truly can't. but I've read and studied and followed, this stuff ever since I was probably old enough to hold a book. And, probably, the biggest thing for me today is I live my life one day at a time. And I know that the news and all the news feeds and all that has an off button. And I try like it was really interesting because I've really removed myself, especially, from politics because I see it for what it truly is. Like it's like you have the people in control and then you have the illusion of an opposition. Well, from what I've seen, I'm turning 51 here right away. So I mean, I have a little bit of life experience behind me too with politics and whatever. And I actually come from a fairly, political background. My great grandfather and my great grandmother were Icelandic immigrants to Canada on my mom's side, and my great grandfather was one of the gentlemen involved in the formation of the cooperative movement in Canada. He was one of the Saskatchewan Icelanders, and they were heavily involved also with the formation of something called the CCF, which is now the federal NDP in Canada. So I mean the political, which is uh, which is really now actually turned into a very radical left wing bunch of crazies, basically. And it's drifted so far away from its original mandates, when these things were, brought together in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. And I had the opportunity a number of years ago, this would have been in about 2003, to meet a close personal friend of my grandfather's, not my great grandfather's, but my grandfather's, and his name was Magnus Eliasson. He was an Icelander. He was blind, and he was a provincial politician. And it was funny, kind of. I came across some papers belonging to my family, and I seen his name mentioned in there quite a few times, and I managed to track him down. I called him. I said, "This is who I am, and this is who I'm related to." And he said, "Come over." And I went over to his house, and you have to understand, like this is a very old blind gentleman, former politician. I remember walking into his house. It was dark, and then I'm thinking to myself, okay, like how does this guy live in the dark? Like he's blind, okay? He's blind. So we had a number of interesting conversations, and you have to know that the Scandinavian countries they're hardcore socialists. Like so, I mean, they have high taxes, high standard of living, but I mean, it's different, from what we really see here. When we talk about, socialism or communism, I'm not an expert on any of those subjects, but
Yeah, me neither.
I do see, some very interesting things. For example, here in Canada, we're a Commonwealth country, okay? So we're under the British Crown. But they claim, in 1981, Pierre Trudeau, I think it was 1981 or 1983, something like that, we signed some type of an agreement where we're basically our own sovereign country, or whatever you want to call it. And it's total bullshit. It's total absolute bullshit. And we have this thing called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And I don't know if anyone, or if you paid any attention to something that happened in Canada during COVID called the Freedom Convoy, when peaceful Canadian citizens basically had enough of government overreach and telling us, we're gonna do this and we're gonna get vaccinated and we're gonna do this or lose our jobs and yada yada yada. And all of a sudden, all across the country, millions of people rose up, and I was involved, at some levels, in that when it was going on. And I have to be really careful today too, because especially, watching the Charlie Kirk assassination and, and then, me, I like to turn the news on afterwards and I'm watching CNN and I'm watching Fox News and I'm on X and I'm on here and there and I want to see every angle and every take and then kind of form my own opinion. But the thing with me is that I realize is it sucks me right back into the shit. And I don't want to be there ever again.
Right. I understand.
Like to be honest with you, I didn't even know the name Charlie Kirk until 2 days ago. But once I started, going through like his videos and stuff like I totally knew who he was. Like like once, but I didn't know his name. But I've seen him, over the years, like multiple times. I've seen, Turning Point USA advertisements. I've seen Turning Point USA, social media groups and stuff like that. I really never got or paid too much attention to it because that's just not what I do anymore. And I realized though, being involved with the Freedom Convoy, I remember being out on the highway here just outside of the city that I live in when the convoy was coming through, and I live in, basically the center of Canada. And it was winter and it was fucking bitter cold. Like, I mean, it was like I was in my work, like Arctic snowsuit, like out standing on the highway. And I remember seeing the first vehicle came through. But there was people, Sheila, from, this one town on the western part of the city that I live in. I live in a city of probably close to almost 1 million people. And there was people on the highway, tens of thousands of them, with Canadian flags and, cheering and support. And, we finally thought it's over. Like, it's the Freedom Convoy. It's the Freedom Convoy, right? Freedom. We're gonna get our freedom finally. And they made their way to Ottawa, and a lot of people put their faith in these people, that went to Ottawa because we were gonna take back our government. That was what we were gonna do, take back our country. And because we've been under, the liberals here, Justin Trudeau resigned, and then we have another liberal prime minister now after a scam of an election, named Mark Carney, who was a central banker here in Canada. He was the governor of the Bank of Canada, and he was also a central banker of the governor of the Bank of England. If you can figure that one out, and he's a hardcore, WEF guy. And one of the other things I do is I'm sure we might have talked about this before. I do a lot of research. I mean, I have, fortunately I have time where I can, do research, and I dig and dig and dig and dig and tear things apart until there's nothing left to dig for. And so one of the things I did one day was I got on myself on Amazon and I kept hearing about this guy named Klaus Schwab. I heard about him forever. He was the head of the WEF or whatever, and he's written a number of books. So I figured, well, I said I'm gonna order his books, and I ordered his books, and I started reading them because I mean the one mistake most people make is, they get all their information from a flash of a meme on a screen.
Yeah.
Well, I started reading his books, and I mean, they always say, all the information's out there. How deep do you want to look for it?
Yep.
And I mean, the game plan's laid out as clear as day in
No,
there.
I know. I know.
It's as clear as day. And the funny thing is, and I wrote about this a while ago, is that there's no left or right. There really truly isn't. There's us and them. And I've seen, a few people, comment on some of the things I'm writing, and I really try hard to stay out of the political writing end of things because I used to write from a political angle quite a few years ago now, and I was involved with a group of people and conservative leaning, and we had a big impact on things here in Canada, and we were shut down just prior to the 2019 federal election here. Like we were reaching, I think when things were at its maximum, we were hitting about 65 million people a week. So, I mean, it was big. It was big. I mean, considering at the time Canada had 30 million people and then we're reaching about 65 million people. So they dropped the hammer on us pretty hard. And because, we just kind of told it how it is. But, one of the interesting things is, so when a Canadian, so like I was talking about, the illusion of choice when we first started talking about this, and in Canada, and I have a friend I've kind of made, and we talk, and she lives in Australia, and Australia is also a Commonwealth country, so they're going through a lot of the same things that we are, and so when an elected official here, like I'm not sure about the city, but I know provincial, like our provincial premiers and provincial members of the Legislative Assembly, which are called MLAs, and our federal politicians and our federal MPs, which are members of Parliament, when they're elected, they swear something called an oath of office. Now, in this oath of office, so I'm going to back up even a little bit more here when I told you at the beginning of this conversation how Canada supposedly in like 1981 became a free country, right? Well, in this oath of office in 2025, when our elected officials swear the oath of office, they say I, and then I'll say, so Justin Trudeau was our former prime minister, so he would say, I, Justin Trudeau, do hereby and hereon most solemnly and sincerely promise to basically obey the King of England, the king. He swears allegiance to the king. So it was, but then here's the thing. So the opposition member gets up after Justin Trudeau. So now this is the leader. So the Trudeau's liberal. Now Pierre Poilievre is the conservative. So he gets up and does his oath of office. And what does he say? He says the exact same thing. So their allegiance, who's it to? Is it to the people of Canada or is it to the King of England? Because I mean, it's a very simple, oath that they take, an oath.
Yeah, well, here's the thing that I'm learning, and
Like they
you
have
know,
plans for us, Sheila.
no, I realize that's what I'm trying to say. It's even here in the United States where folks to this day believe that we are free. It is an illusion.
Yeah, but you're much freer than we are. Try Canada.
Well, I realize that you, that again, that's what everyone thinks. Um, and would it be that folks would really dig in and do the work to find that
An illusion.
it is a complete illusion because for whatever the reason, somewhere, at some point, somebody decided that we have to pay to live upon the planet of our birth.
I wrote about that.
I know you did. And folks that have followed me, not necessarily Sassy C or Sheila, but conscious
I gotta get
conversation
a flipping
people,
pen going here. I'm gonna have to start taking notes.
will know that back in 2017, 2018 is when I first got my snootful of what actually has occurred. And even then, I didn't really understand all of it. And just recently, I think I said this, and I have recorded some of it. In 2017, 2018, I saw something on Amazon that I was nudged then to put into my wish list. And just recently, the nudge came that I am now to purchase it, and I did. And this is not the one I wanted. It's this one. It was two books. And the truth of the matter is that things have happened before the birth of a lot those of us who are actually trying to pay attention right now that we were not made privy to, and they are so deep and so wide and so weird that it takes time and it takes effort to try to understand what has occurred. And it's really much deeper than either one of us can do on this channel at this time. Um, but to tie it back into, for me, what we were speaking on when we first got in here, I do feel like it is a turning point. And how ironic that the name of the foundational movement that Charlie Kirk created was Turning Point USA. Because what Chad Prather had to say on his Facebook this morning was he asked a question about why do you feel this so deeply? And because I couldn't, first of all, I couldn't put my finger on exactly what was going on with me as to why I was feeling so saddened. And really, it's a huge grief that has washed over me. Now, part of it is I know that I feel the collective, and I know that to be true. But the other thing is that for me, I've all my life, I've been able to have conversations with folks and have disagreements about things and move on. And it feels to me like that kind of, and again, that's kind of why I started Conscious Conversation Central, is that somewhere along the way folks lost the ability to have a conscious conversation, agree to disagree, and move on.
When do you think that was?
I don't,
I can tell you when it was.
I really don't know. I don't know. And
It came with this, Sheila, right here.
you think so?
Oh, Sheila, come on. We know so. Like the thing with us,
I know that
the thing
we
with
didn't
us,
have those when we were still
you're
doing
older than
those.
me, okay? So
Yes, I am.
I'm gonna be 51 right away.
Right. I'll be
So
64 in
so
October.
I remember, and I don't know if anyone's even watching this or not, but if they are, if there's some older people watching us or
We
people
have 13 people that are here
around
with
my
us
age or
live.
your age, they'll
Yeah.
remember, okay, they'll remember before this. Okay, before in order for me and you to communicate like this, first of all, we couldn't.
No, you're right.
You
I would
you
have never met you.
you would write me on something like this with this. You'd put it
Right.
in an envelope and you'd lick a stamp,
Right.
throw it in a box in front of your house, and in about a week, I'd go out to the box on attached to my house and I'd pull out this envelope and I'd say to Jason Gray from Sheila Corona, blah 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 blah, and I'd open it up and
Right.
there'd be a letter.
Right.
And then I would read your letter and I would pull out, I would pull out this right here, empty, and I would respond.
Right.
And I would put it in an envelope and I'd lick a stamp and I'd put it on it and I'd go to the box in front of my house and we used to get it and you'd get it and we'd carry on a conversation like that.
Exactly.
Now we're carrying on a live conversation via the internet
Yep.
in real time, in real time, thousands of miles away from each other.
Yep.
Like I mean, I could reach my finger out right now and almost touch you on the screen. But I mean,
Right.
this is when things have changed. This has changed everything.
No, I know you're right about that because,
This has changed everything. But here's my point, Sheila. So
okay.
imagine being a baby or a newborn born today. Okay, today, all this shit to them. Guess what it is? Normal. Normal.
I know.
Okay, we lived in the old world. We know this isn't normal. But eventually, we're getting older. I was amazing because I always thought middle age was 50. I always thought that. I always, for some reason, I had in my head 100, this number 100 is life. And if it's 100, the middle age is 50. But then I did some research one day and I came to the point the average life expectancy for a Canadian male is like 76 or something like that. So I put in my calculator 76 divided by 2, and guess what number I came up with? I think it was around 39.5. So I look at it like a curve like this. Okay, we're born here. Okay, and we come up this curve, right? This is our life. And we hit this magic number where we don't really know where the halfway point is because the halfway point for a guy like Charlie Kirk was at 15 because we don't know when we're gonna die. But I mean,
Right.
if we live to be the, you know, median age of life expectancy or whatever. So I hit my halfway point at 39 and a half. Okay, I'm turning 51. So here comes the curve. So right at the top of the curve is 39 years old. Well, Jason's, down the mountain over here somewhere now, right? And then you come down and that's the end. And honestly, I've gotten to this point where none of this shit even really matters. None of this shit really matters. And when I started feeling myself getting sucked into all the bullshit over what happened in the States at Utah, I could feel myself, like something like pulling me in again, trying to pull me in. Just like when I was involved with the Freedom Convoy, and then something was off. And I sensed it. And I was watching the news last night about it, and I was listening to Fox News, and I'm like, okay, something isn't adding up here. Like something just is off. It's really off about the whole thing. I mean, first of all, you got the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, the night of whatever, tweet or puts on X that they have the suspect, they got him. Okay, this is the director of the FBI. They got him. So if I'm a cop and I'm out looking on the streets for this guy, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my phone while I'm sitting in my patrol car and I see the director of the FBI says we got him, what am I going to stop doing? I'm going to stop looking for him because they got him and they never had him. They never had him.
Okay. See, I didn't even pay that close of attention to
They,
it.
they, they,
I've
they,
been
they, they ne- they never had him there. Supposedly they have him now, but here's the other thing. Like, okay, I was in the military, okay? So I had to do it was called a PWT qualification shoot for infantry, whatever. And you got to hit so many targets from distances, and you're in all these different shooting positions, and the targets come up, and you shoot, and you run, and you do this and that, lay down and run, blah 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 blah. So I'm thinking to myself, okay. Then I was listening to, the commentators talk last night that somehow this 22-year-old kid, okay, 22-year-old kid, and nobody. Well, no, but first I started hearing the stories about, how there was ammunition left behind and they found the weapon in the woods and just it was all crazy, kind of like when they took the shot at Trump wherever it was, and it, grazed his ear, and it was just an act of God, he just turned his head slightly and it just nicked his ear, and whatever. And then I started seeing, there's all this trans writing on the bullet casings and fingerprints everywhere. And I'm just saying to myself, like, the guy takes a shot at off of an elevated position. Okay, he's on a roof on a downward angle. Okay. I don't know what the weather was, but I would assume, maybe there was a bit of wind or whatever. I'm not sure. I heard it was a 300 Win Mag round is what I kind of heard. I'm not 100% on that. Shoots the guy, and I mean, I've seen lots of the slow motion videos now too, where it does look like he was wearing a bulletproof vest, and it hit the vest and then ricocheted because you can see something move through his shirt, and then as it ricocheted and whatever, it hit him in the what's that artery in your neck called the carotid artery
Yeah,
or
carotid artery.
and he bled like he like as soon as I seen the video like because the videos were all over the place as soon as it happened and I said like I was at work my boss comes up to me or foreman of my job because I'm my boss foreman of my job comes up to me and says oh Charlie Kirk just got assassinated so I started looking on my phone I'm like okay well who the fuck is Charlie Kirk first of all
Right.
I mean, I'm in Canada. I mean, but once I seen him and whatever, yeah, oh, yeah, I've seen like numerous, like incredible guy, absolutely, incredible guy. I never seen him say anything bad, but I mean the hate that we got going on here in Canada from people too towards this guy, like I mean, it's just something right off the charts. It's off the charts, and this is how I know too that the end is coming. It's really coming. This is Sheila. This isn't sustainable. This isn't sustainable. All
Well,
of our,
no, you're right about
I
that.
mean,
It's
the U.S. government. I don't know what your guys' debt clock is at. No, no, but I mean, Sheila. This isn't sustainable.
no, I know. Well, let me just say that's an entire conversation, even all on its own. Okay. Talking about the debt clock. There's been something going on with that for a while.
Well, it's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors and bullshit because this debt number one doesn't even exist.
No, I
It's like
know.
a number in thin air. And then I
That's
and
what I'm
then, and then
saying.
and then I say to myself too, like when Elon Musk was the big hero and whatever. Well, what happened to them going to Fort Knox and checking on the gold?
No, I know. That's what no, you're exactly
Like,
correct.
what happened? Where like I mean, the thing is they just dangle these carrots all the time in front of us. Why you want to know what? Fuck your carrots. You want to know what? That's the truth. Fuck your carrots because
Well, but I'm
here's
gonna
what I wait,
hold on a second.
hold on. This is what I'm gonna say. You pulled out some books that you bought off of Amazon or whatever rate lately and read them, okay? And I'm a huge reader. I was. Okay, and I got a library like there's no tomorrow of everything under the sun. And you want to know what point I'm at now? I write my own story. I write my own
Well,
story.
that's what I wanted to say to you. Okay, so keeping all of that in mind and about the carrots, you're absolutely right. In the way that I feel about it and from everything that I've seen, the only way forward is for those who really care enough to actually get the message that earning the dollarinis is actually what's keeping us enslaved. You
Well,
want to
no,
stop? Wait a minute. You want to stop it? Everybody's got to sit down.
no, that's not true.
Oh, I think so.
No, the only person that has to sit down is you or me. We all we have to do,
No,
she
I know.
is
I realize that. I'm trying to
about
say, as
us.
long as there's dollars being moved around, as long as there are people that are still buying into that system on a large scale, it continues. But if the way I've seen it, because it's all that stands in the way, because it is an energetic slavery system. Dollars are nothing but a placeholder for your energy, my energy, their energy over there. And whoever made this arbitrary idea that your time is worth more than this guy over here's time, it's all about a class system. It's all about, and we've bought into it.
Yeah, but that's the whole point that I'm trying to make is that's not true.
No, I know. I'm aware.
Here's the thing. Do you have what you do you have what you need today, Sheila?
I have so far everything that I need,
What you
yes.
need. And I have everything that I need too. I have everything that I need. Do you have everything that you want?
Well, no, of
And
course not.
neither do I.
Of
But
course not. But
I have
I don't even know what's,
but we have everything that we need. So does that, you're talking about the rat race system is what you're talking
yes, you're
about.
right.
You're talking about the rat race system, and I lived in the race system for a long time too, for a long because that's what because that's how they program us.
I know.
That's how they program us. Basically, from the time we enter school, our goal is to get a good job, to get a good education, okay, which leads to a good job, which leads to a family, which leads to more children, more slaves for the system. Repeat, 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 repeat.
Exactly.
Until you can see it for what it is.
Exactly.
Until you and but once you see it for what it truly is, it doesn't matter. Like I said, you have to write your own story.
Well,
Right?
you're right about that, which is
Whenever we
why I knew that your,
whenever we pick up a book and read a book, we're reading someone else's story. It's like we're probably gonna end up getting into the Hermetics page a little bit here tonight.
oh,
Just
okay.
to give you a little bit of a heads up.
Okay.
But I was told to get, you know which book I'm talking about? The the Hermetics book, like the
Ah,
I don't even know where mine
the
is.
Kabbalion.
Yeah, the Kabbalion. It's around here. It's somewhere. So I read the book and I found it actually quite fascinating. But here's the thing. Yeah, the three initiates. Okay. So when I first picked up that book, okay, when I first picked up that book, I just accepted it as the gospel. I read it. It resonated. I mean it semi resonated. I mean it stuck at first because that's what it's designed to do. But it's not designed for the average reader to look any deeper beyond the pages that the ink is printed on. Because once you do, once you look beyond the pages the ink is printed on, it's a fraud. It's a fraud.
Is
It's a
it a fraud
total
or
and
is there
complete,
just more?
it's a total and complete, that book is making someone who owns the rights to that book money. Okay? None of this wisdom or ancient stuff that we're seeking, whatever, there's no cost to it. There's no cost. That book was written, I couldn't even pull it up right
In
now.
the early teens.
Yeah, it was 1908 or 1909 by a Chicago businessman involved in the New Age, the New Age, working at the time with like Blavatsky and
The
whoever.
theosophy, yes,
Yeah,
theosophy.
theosophical movement
Right.
or whatever it was at the time, and it was made and created to generate wealth for somebody,
Hmm.
to generate wealth.
I can't dispute that. So because I don't really know.
Because here's the thing: if it wasn't to generate wealth, why is there a charge for the book? Well, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
this
they gotta print it and they gotta do this and that
right.
and whatever. But I mean,
I think
especially with the internet now, we don't need to pay for any type of that shit anymore.
well, and you don't have to. This book is easily read online. As
But then you get people that draw the comparison between the Hermetics and the Emerald tablets. So for the longest time too, Sheila, I thought the Emerald tablets, like they might, like this is what I thought because I accept everything at the surface level. Here it is presented. And then my response is, okay, this is obviously the truth. Look no further. Ask no questions. Okay? You have to question absolutely everything.
well, absolutely. You already know how I feel about that, but I have a good question somebody's asking in the chat. And I want to welcome everyone. Thank you guys for all being here. Kara asks, can both things be true? Get the word out as well as generate money within the system. And I'll answer for myself about that only because of what I see money as being. Money is an obstacle in between, it's a placeholder, and there are those who control money, and the sole purpose for it is to enrich themselves and control. It is a yet again another method of domination and control. In my view, from my perspective, I don't think it's required. I know that that's a really huge statement that a lot of people just their eyes glaze over and they can't hardly believe that that's a real statement. But it's not required. Um, as long as I've done things with my channel and different things, I don't charge for anything I do.
Maybe
Or
you should start, Sheila. I mean, go on trips in the winter.
well, I've wrestled with all of that. To be honest with you, I have because of,
Money
but
corrupts.
but I have to tell you, it every time, because I've had a lot of people say, well, that's because you have self-worth issues, which I will say, yeah, you're damn right I do. I do have self-worth issues. I've had them all my life. Um, but on this particular subject, every single time I feel into it and I ask my inner guidance about it, I'm always told that it's not required. And am I going to trust that I will be cared for or not? And so far in my life, I have been cared for. I'm 64 years old. I've never made more than $29,000 in a year. I've been disabled for more than 25 years. And you ask me, do I have everything I want? Well, the truth is no, but I have everything that I need.
I should have asked do you have everything the ego wants?
Well, and I'll say, no, of course not. I would love to have my camper be my, because it was supposed to be my rolling studio, so I could do those trips you talked about and do the van life going around the US and hey, maybe even Canada and meet the people that I, chat with. And I've come to the conclusion that it must not be time for that because the van itself was provided for me. I didn't have the money to buy that van. That came from someone giving me a gift. The universe provided that. So there's, I mean, and I do reserve the right at any moment to feel and think differently about things because this is a journey that I'm just learning. I won't, there's no way that I can sit here and say, oh, I know this or that or the other, because believe you me, I've been proven wrong lots of times. And I'm okay with that because I realize that it is a journey. And I am smart enough to know that I don't know much. And a whole lot of the things I thought I knew, again, not so much. That idea you talked about, question everything. Oh, you betcha. You betcha. Because almost everything that I've been told, learned, or taught has proven to be not so, not so much.
But you see, you have to look at even more like when I say question everything, like I've always questioned everything. It's not even so much it is question everything, but it goes deeper than that. You have to you can't just say why is this and just keep saying why is this? Why is this? Why is this? Like a broken record. Why is this? You can't just keep so that's questioning, right? Why is this? You need to dig into why that is until there's nothing left to uncover. And you, at your soul level, can say to yourself, okay, I'm satisfied that I have a truth or I have uncovered a truth that resonates with me, that I can accept this is the truth.
I hear what you're saying, but I will tell you this, okay, from my perspective and from my experience, I'm only shown what's true that I can accept, what my psyche can accept in that moment. That does not mean that it is the full truth. Because for me, and because this has happened to me before, Jason, where I've gotten to a level where I thought this was this. And then once my psyche was ready, and see, that's what's behind the way I record your writings. My guidance tells me what to record. I don't record your stuff because it's going to get views on my channel. I don't record your stuff. No, none of that. That's not what this is about for me. And it never has been. Anyone that's followed me knows this is all about me, my psyche, my consciousness expansion and growth. I've never made that any other secret, no secrets there. That's what it's about for me. And what I've noticed over these years since I've been doing this, I started Conscious Conversation Central in 2017, is that my inner guidance takes me to a level and shows me things that I'm ready for. If I'm not ready for it, I can't understand it.
Well, that's the
I'll
same
have,
for everybody.
well, that's my point. So I can't use, you talked about digging into something. But if you dig in and your psyche's not ready, you're not going to accept it as truth. It doesn't resonate.
Yeah, but if you're not ready, you're not even going to be asking the questions and you won't have the information sitting in front of you because when you're ready, the information sits in front of you. If you're not ready for the information, it'll never even sit in front of you to begin with.
Well, see, that's different between sitting in front of you and digging into something. To me, from my perspective, those are two different things. Um, Andrew from Astro Gardens is here. He said, that being said, I look at most religions as being a source of social control. Would love to see the divine, though I have yet to. Well, I would advise you to look in the mirror, Andrew, because you are the divine.
Yeah, 100%. That's the truth.
Yes. Um,
That is honestly, that's the honest to God 100% truth. But the thing is though with that too is I mean, we really don't know what we truly look like.
I
We
know that's
really
true too.
truly don't. Because we see a reflection in a mirror, we see a reflection on water, and we think, okay, this is me,
Right.
but we never really see this
No,
can
I
get
know.
this can go real deep into that topic. But when you want to talk about the divine, yeah, that is true. You want to see the divine, you are the divine. Like it was funny even for me too. Like I mean, for so many years, I was looking outside of myself
Same.
because that's part of the programming.
Well,
The
and
man
it's
in the sky, the man in the sky. If you do this, Jason Gray, you are gonna burn in hell. If
yeah,
you don't, you have no idea what it was like for me to grow up as a kid. I'm not a Christian, okay? I'm not a Christian. You have no idea what it was like for me to grow up as a kid when you hear things like, Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior, and if you don't accept Jesus Christ in your heart, you're going to burn in hell. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you this right now. I am not going to burn in hell because number one, there's no such thing as hell.
no, I know.
There's no
And I
such
was a
thing as
Christian.
you can live in hell. You want to know where you live in heaven and hell? Right here. Right here. You can live in
Yeah,
heaven or hell because vessel, when we leave this vessel, we return to our true source, which is energy.
right.
Which is energy. And then do you think the money is going to matter? And do you think all this is going to matter? I mean, we're here for like a speck of sand in the grand scheme of things. And the other thing I was going to say too is once I dig and dig and dig and dig, like we were talking about when I wanted the answers, once I'm done digging and I'm staring at the bottom of the hole and I'm in the bottom of the hole with my shovel and I'm at the rock or whatever, and I get out a jackhammer and I can keep going deeper. But then I ask myself this, Jason, does it matter? Does it really fucking matter? Does it matter? And you want to know what 9 times out of 10 the answer is? No,
No, I
it
know.
doesn't matter. It
No, I know. I know
matter.
you're right. That's why I guess I was wrestling so much today. It's just that I know that I feel the collective quite heavily. And it does feel like um I don't
Have,
know,
have
like
did you watch any of this on the news?
no, I did not. I
Have you
can't.
follow have you followed any of it whatsoever? Then how did you know it happened?
Well, are you kidding me? Everybody's talking about it
Okay,
everywhere.
here's the thing, okay? So if you lived out in the woods, okay, if you lived out in the woods and all those people are talking are basically
I
parroting
don't know, Jason,
what
because I have felt things without
no,
seeing them.
I'm not saying that, but I mean if you lived in the woods and you had no internet and no phone, okay, 2 days ago when this guy was assassinated, okay, if you had no contact with anyone, you were just out tending your garden, you live in the woods, you live in the woods. You wouldn't even know, Sheila.
No, that's right. I wouldn't. But how do you know that I wouldn't feel it? Because you don't.
But you might feel something, but
And not know
I'm gonna tell
why.
you right
That's
now,
right.
you're not gonna get a vision of a guy getting his shot through
No, I
the neck.
know. That's not what I'm saying. See, that's not what I'm saying.
You might
Because I'm
feel an
telling you,
energetic shift.
that's what I'm trying to say here. I couldn't put my finger on why I was so weepy. Okay. I don't know the man. I, that's what I'm trying to say to you. I had a hard time trying to figure out, and this has happened to me before. I think energy can be felt.
Oh, yeah,
And that
absolutely.
and this has been so huge and so deep. That's why I had said that
But is it artificial or is it natural? Because I'll tell you right now, it's artificial. It's
oh, you think
artificial.
so?
Absolutely. You have to understand, like there's an ancient grid system, with the earth, with what we call the earth or whatever this thing is that we live on. I mean, it could be the matrix. I mean, we don't know. I mean, I have my theories, but I mean, and I also have my theories for a reason.
Right,
Okay, I have my theories for a reason. I mean, I was, found lifeless at one point in my life and given a defibrillator and was clinically dead.
right,
So I have my theories and I've been to places that not very many people get to go to and come back from. Okay. So and I've had, that experience, verified by being told by someone to look at something and read something of someone that has similar experience and I never knew this person and they had the exact same experience. So I mean, it's a little bit of what's the word that I'm looking for? Not like reassurance, but confirmation that it was real. Because I never talked about it for a long time. I never talked about it. And then I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna open up a little bit about this experience. And like it was weird too, because it was to a stranger. And then they said, "Oh, you gotta get this book, and this happened to this woman. She was in surgery and she was dead for 28 minutes, and she wrote about the 28 minutes." And when I read it, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, okay, this is exactly what happened to me. But the thing with me is I could have been, dead for a lot longer than 28 minutes
right,
because by the time this event happened to me and by the time I was found was a full day later. And I mean, and I've heard, from people that I was cold. Like, I mean, they give me the defibrillator. I didn't come back right away. And then but I remember actually, like, I remember coming back. I remember coming back into my body. And for just over 4 years ago, I had a widowmaker heart attack. And I was going to talk a little bit about this tonight too, because I know I kept you up late and I
no,
apologize.
I'm okay. I told you I had a nap today and I'm having coffee. I'm okay.
I was hoping you were gonna crack open a King Can Red Bull.
Oh, you're so funny. No. I'd like to be here till I'm 65 at least, okay?
It says on the can that it's a natural health product.
Oh, Red Bull is not a natural health product. What?
But anyway, so I found out a couple weeks ago, so 4 years ago, or maybe almost 5 years ago, no, whenever the last election was, I think it was like November 2021. So it'd be 4 years ago, I had a widowmaker heart attack at work. And it was bad. Like it was really bad. And I've been thinking to myself, so I had 4 stents put on the left side of my heart. I mean, the doctors, like when I presented at the hospital, I was taken there, from work by a coworker. and like they rushed me to the hospital, and I was standing there talking to the nurse, and I got in, and she's like, "Okay, like you shouldn't be standing here talking to us right now." Like, I mean, they're panicking, and I'm like, "Okay, like what's going on?" They're like, "Your blood pressure is like, I don't even know what it was. It was, but it was like some fucking wild number. Like I should be dead. I shouldn't be standing there having a conversation with them." And then they start doing all this stuff on me, but I'm in the ambulance and they're transferring me to do angioplasty on me at a different hospital here. And I'm laying on the stretcher and I'm thinking to myself, okay, like I never, like, I mean, I never said goodbye to my kids. Like, and it's really something else to go through because I'm laying at the first hospital and like they're working on me and whatever. And they got all these bright lights on me and there's all this commotion and doctors and nurses and they got all these IVs and machines on me and whatever. And they're like, okay, sir, you just got to relax. Like you're having a massive heart attack. And I started thinking to myself, okay, like, is this real? And then I started thinking to myself, okay, like, is this it? Is this it? Like, this is it. I mean, it's a very, it's a very emotional and overwhelming experience. And if anyone's, gone through that, they'll understand. If you haven't gone through it, you don't have a fucking clue. End of story. But I'm in the ambulance, so they get me stabilized and they put me in the ambulance and they transfer me. And this is when I kind of start realizing it's serious because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm in the ambulance, and they close the door of the ambulance, and I'm telling you, it's light sirens, and that thing was at the next hospital, and it's a number of miles away from where we were. I'm there in like fucking 5 minutes. Like, I mean, that thing was moving, like it was moving, and I think, okay, like it's serious, like it's really serious. But I was laying, it was funny because I was laying on the stretcher in the ambulance, and I look up at the ambulance roof, and all of a sudden there's no roof on the ambulance. Okay. And the tunnel is connected to the ambulance. And I knew exactly what it was because I'd been through the tunnel before when I died. So I knew what it was, okay? And I was laying there and I could see right up the tunnel and I knew what was happening. And then I heard something ask me if I wanted to go. And you want to know, this is gonna sound totally crazy because this is when I was really political at this time, okay? So this is the day before the last election where Trump lost to Biden, okay? But we didn't
Okay.
know this yet. We didn't
Right.
know this yet. This was gonna be Trump's second term back to back and whatever. And I remember looking up this tunnel and I said, but there's no verbal communication. It was mental, like telepathic communication with whatever I was communicating with,
Right.
and whatever was communicating with me. And I remember thinking, and I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I said, "I've been waiting for tomorrow, the election day, for 4 fucking years, and I'm gonna die now the day before, and I'm not gonna know who's gonna win." I said, "No, I'm not going." I said, I'm not going. And I'm telling you, as fast as that, Sheila, you can hook me up to a polygraph machine right here. I will pass with flying colors. I swear to God. And as soon as I said that, the roof was on and we were arriving at the hospital and they were taking me into surgery.
Well, I've always thought that it was by consent. Everything is by consent, no matter what. It's all by consent. I've come to that conclusion at this point in my experimentation and hypothesis, including things that would, denote that would produce fear within us. Fear is an invitation, one that now I realize I don't have to accept. Um, so I love that you guys are talking. They're actually discussing amongst themselves in the chat too. Kara said to Andrew, I think divine exists in religion slash theological thought. It must, right? Because the people, even controlled to various extents, carry the divine and the energy of that spirituality. That is a thought, yes. And James said that he agrees with Kara. There's truth in all beliefs, however, there are distortions. This has been happening for extended moments. Ah, Julie Wise is asking Jason, what was your first death experience? And I know you've written about it, but it's up to you if you care to share a little bit more about it. Uh, while we're together tonight, I leave it to you.
Well, you see, I don't really know. Like I've had a few, and I really think I may have had one when I was a very young child. We were involved, my family was involved in a very, very, very serious car crash. And I have recollections of being in the car, and then I basically woke up and I was in hospital, and then I've had some other experiences where I've, I spent quite a bit of time under, I guess, a medical induced coma. Another experience where I was under a medical induced coma for a while. And so, I mean, my death experience was lethal overdose. And I should have never lived through it, and I did. And then I should have never lived through my heart attack, and I did. And I just actually got some news. I About a month or so, or maybe even a little bit longer than a month. We're involved in building a new Costco here in the city I live in. So it's just chaos, like working, like these guys are crazy building these things. It's just go, 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 go. But I wasn't feeling good, and I was starting to feel the symptoms of my heart again, like that something was wrong. So I'm on nitro patches now, which has made me feel like a whole heck of a lot better. But I no one like so I see a cardiologist not regularly. I'm gonna be seeing my cardiologist more regularly now, but nobody ever really all they really told me about my heart attack is that I'm better. Like this is what they said. Like I had this heart attack and the doctors wanted me off work for 6 months. I was supposed to go to cardiac rehab and do all this stuff that they wanted me to do. I was back at work within two. I wanted to go back to work after a week, and the owner of the company that I work for actually said, Jason, like, come on. He's like, no, you can't come back. But it's the work sickness. Like we joke around at work, like I have this work sickness. It's from my dad and my grandfather, like hard workers, and they instilled like work, 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 work into me, and I have it. But I mean, the whole thing is though is like the job that I have, like for the most part, I love my job. But like I'm very blessed in, I'm a Red Seal interprovincial tradesperson here in Canada, and I love my job, and it's funny too, like that can just drift off into a whole other avenue, but I like totally lost my train of thought here, Sheila. So you got to help me out here.
It's okay. The question was, what was your first death experience? But you did write about.
Oh yeah, everything pretty much is I've written about absolutely everything. And the biggest thing for me too is, when I'm writing, you know, I wrote something the other day, and actually I'm not writing right now either. So if you are seeing anything, that I'm posting or anything like that, this is stuff that I have saved, and this is stuff that's old, and this is stuff that, you helped gather out of that page, which one I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
And and I made the mistake, and I know you gave me shit for this about backing up my stuff because I just kind of assumed that it was there. And when I wrote my book, like I guess, well, fuck it, I finished it coming up on a year ago, and what I did is I just would write, and then I would just leave it on my personal Facebook profile, which nobody can see because it's not public. But and I figured, well, okay, well, that's a good place to store it because honestly, like, I mean, like I'm on a computer at the house here right now, but I am never in front of a computer. Like I'm on my phone. Like my phone is my computer. I mean, I can print from it. I can do anything I want from it. I mean, they make us so dependent on this. It's even my flashlight. It's my bank card. It's my weather forecaster. It's everything, right? You can't live without this. But Now my mind's it's just all it's just going like completely all over the place right now. But okay, I was talking about my book.
Yes, you were.
But what was the question again?
Well, the question was about your death experience, but you took it in a different direction.
Oh,
And
about how I wrote all about it. About
right,
so it's all written it's all written there. I mean, I'm not gonna, sit here and talk about it a whole heck of a lot. If anyone really wants to, understand it more or whatever, it's written. It's all written.
right. And I can help direct to that, Jason. So for those of you who may not know, I have recorded a lot of Jason's writings. Well, I say a lot, but there's a lot more that I haven't recorded. But they are on the channel here under a playlist that is the works of author Jason Gray. And there are several writings that you can find in regards to his death. And you know what I could do is I could go and start. Well, actually, I have access. This is something you and I need to talk about offline. Something I told you I needed to chat with you about. Um, so that just know that that is coming where you'll be able to find it easily. I do want to address something though. Kara said she actually was asking Astro Gardens, do you think that all people are capable? That sounds, I'm going to say the word crappy, but honestly, when Jason and Sheila say, quote, they won't see it if not ready. That's my own personal opinion and based on my own experiences. I think about how all of this, it doesn't matter what we're talking about, spirituality, what is going on the planet as a whole. All of us are programmed and conditioned. That programming and conditioning is based on everything we've ever experienced in our lives to date. A lot of it has become programmed. I call it that because it's rote, it's habit now. And it has to do with our psyche. And I remember reading that the medicine men, the shaman, saw the boats as they were coming to the new world, but the natives did not. And part of that had to do with their psyche. They'd never seen anything like that. They don't think outside the box away from what they've always known. And they've looked to their authority outside of them to tell them what is or what isn't. In other words, they didn't question. And I personally, that's where I see, even within my own self, that it has to do with where we are in our psyche and the choices. Because not everyone came here with the idea of having an experience of awakening. Some people did, I feel, because and that actually came from my own asking about it. And then Andrew did answer her and say yes, to some extent, often blocked, usually without conscious control of it. And James said it's all awareness. Are we aware?
Oh,
And
that's
I,
the truth 100%. It's all
yes,
about awareness. It's all about awareness.
right.
Absolutely. But I mean, this you can you can go down all sorts of, different paths looking at this because I mean, even when you talk about the shaman and the Indian scene this and that and blah 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 blah, that's you automatically accepting the script of somebody else.
No, that's true. But I'm trying to, I equate it to that because of my own
No, no,
experience.
no, no. I understand that, and I mean that's the part for myself where I've had to, I wake up in the okay. This is what I like to say. I live my life 24 hours at a time. Okay, that's it. I'm not in the past and I'm not in the future. I'm right now. And right now, even when I just said that word right now, that's already in the past. And the only thing that matters is being completely in the present, which I am right now, but now that's in the past too. Because when I'm in the present, nothing matters. Nothing matters. Do I have enough money for right now? Absolutely. Yes, I do. Do I have a roof over my head right now? Yes. I mean, is there tanks rolling down my street right now, hauling my neighbors out, putting us in internment camps? No. Is there famine, war, anything when I look out my immediate window in front of me? No. But when I turn on that box, that 85-inch box that hangs on the wall in the living room or the one in the basement, oh fuck it. I mean, the plane, they're coming to get us. They're coming.
No, I
Today
realize
or
that's
tomorrow,
true.
they're coming.
Yep. No,
Like,
I
like, like I said, and so I've gotten to the point of, I wake up in the morning. I don't really, I mean, I usually know like what my day is semi going to entail. But another thing is too, when I try to predict what's going to happen, it never goes the way that I want. So when I stop predicting how my day, when I stop controlling, okay, when I stop controlling and I start accepting, everything changes.
no, that's true. I have to agree with you on that. And honestly,
Every,
that word surrender was
everything,
really hard
everything,
for me.
everything changes. And that's what it is because I was always taught surrender is a sign of weakness. Surrender is
No,
actually a
same.
sign of strength.
Oh,
It's
you're
a sign of
right.
strength. But that's the conditioning. That's
Understand that's a matter of perception. And I was with you on that before because I'd lived most of my life in a matter of fight or flight,
well, so
right?
far.
Right. Well, due to, different abuses and whatnot. So once I started getting myself sovereign,
None of that mattered.
no, but it was the idea of surrendering to anything. I had trouble with that.
Well, it's not even really surrendering, Sheila. It's releasing it.
Right. And that's where I am now. I'm still trying. I'm still working at. I shouldn't
It
say
has it
trying.
has no power over you or me anymore.
Right.
It has no power over us because
That's
lots
right.
of people it provides the power for their whole life and they're a victim, from the time they're five and they're a victim till the time they die and they're miserable and whatever. But I mean
That's true.
that's them. That
No,
that's
you're right, because
that
I
doesn't have to
lived
be
that for a
us.
long, long time.
And well, I lived that too. Why me? Why does this bad stuff happen to me? Why can't I get a break? Why can't I do this? I mean, you talk about being poor and destitute. Sheila, I've lived all that too. I
Right.
understand. I've been on the streets. You want to know what my biggest income year was? I'll tell you right now. Was around 2002. Okay. You want to know how much income I survived on for one year? $187. $187 I survived on for one year. How?
By living in the moment, I would have guessed. Yep.
By living in something, and then I went on, Sheila. I went on and I used to work in oil and gas, and I used to make, you know, 250, almost $300,000 a year working in oil and gas. And I mean, was my life any better? Well, I mean, my ego was bigger. And I mean, now I'm at a point, where I have this job and I work, 7, 8 hours a day. I'm not working, 20 days away from home and 15 hours a day and killing myself and whatever. And do I have all the money I want? Well, I have all the money I need.
Right.
I have all the money but I need, but I also understand what it's like to have nothing. And I also know what it's like to have plenty. And to be honest, I think I'm the happiest now. I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I'm not poor where I once was, and I'm not super rich. I'm gonna go outside after we're done talking and start like eyeballing my 6 Ferraris in the garage because there's no Ferraris. There's even not even a vehicle in the garage. But I mean, but you know what I mean? But my ego says, well, I would sure like to have 6 Ferraris in the garage. And there's lots of people, that's them. And you want to know what? That's their story. That's their story.
Yep. And they
But
got
I
a
mean,
right to it. That's
we
for
get we
sure.
get things like envy. I mean, we get envy
Right.
and jealousy and, things like that. I mean, it comes at you and tries to attack you in all sorts of different ways. For me, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, like,
Well, that's where I'm at,
I hate
to
to
be
say it
honest
like
with
that,
you.
but I don't. And even with the Charlie Kirk assassination, like I really felt a draw of whatever it is trying to pull it in me. Like you have to understand now, like with the 5G networks and everything like that, we have an artificial lattice over the earth, surrounding the whole earth, an artificial lattice. Okay, an energetic, non-natural, energetic lattice. Okay, now think about what's going through all the humans when everyone's using one of these. Okay, everyone's using one of these. No, it's funny because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and he did some work on my truck, and I sent him the money via e-transfer. So I said his name's John, and I said, John, isn't that funny how I went on this device, I put in some information, you're over there working on my truck. Somehow in the air, okay, I hit send, somehow instantaneously that left my phone, withdrew an amount of money from my bank account, transferred it to his bank account faster than we could even blink our eyes. How is that possible? How?
Well, not real for one thing, but
It's all around us. It's very real. It's very
right.
real,
In one
and
way.
it's all around us. And one of the things too, like I'm not going to get into like I mean I could really get into some crazy stuff, but a lot of these 5G networks, I know this, were turned on during the original lockdowns of COVID.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Okay, that's when they were turned on, and part of me thinks that the reason why they had us locked down is because honestly, they didn't know what was going to happen to us. They didn't know if if it was just business as usual and they turned this on. Like I mean, all of a sudden there's thousands of people walking down the street just drop dead. Like they didn't know. So that I think that's one of the reasons why they locked us down. And I mean I've gotten into some really crazy Microsoft patents and whatever that really exist where they are really mining body activity data
No, I know. I'm aware.
through our phones, through the net, through the lattice, they're really mining our thoughts and our inputs and our use of social media and creating, crypto and whatever they're doing with this stuff. And I mean, it's a big part of the reason why everyone's so fucked up. Like it's a huge part of it. But I'm telling you, like the time, like I don't care if anyone believes me or not, but the time is coming. The time it's really coming, and we're gonna see a continued escalation of things getting worse. I mean, UN Agenda 2030, okay, in 4 months from now, we are in 2026, okay? And we're in 2026. That's 4 years left. 4 years from what they have planned for us. 4 years. And I mean it can go one of two ways. Someone sent me something actually interesting, but they were talking about right now that there's basically like two Earths right now. There's like the old Earth and the new Earth, and people are struggling frequency wise. There's people in the new Earth already, and people are gonna basically perish in the old Earth. I didn't really read it 100%. I mean, I scanned through it and I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Whatever. And that's what's going on. Like there's an energetic shift, going on. But I mean, when you talk about feeling like when that guy got assassinated and whatever, well, obviously you're gonna feel an energetic shift because the artificial lattice is carrying that energy from all of a sudden everyone around the world just watch blood splurting out of this guy's neck at a Utah campus. Like, I mean, well, where do you think the energy goes? But I mean, for me, I also realized when I was away this summer camping that, when I'm offline and off grid, and I mean, I was at some places like some lakes and stuff like that. Like, I mean, these places have been there forever. Like, I mean, big granite, like like not mountains, but I mean of kind of mountains, I guess for me, I'm a Canadian, like in the prairies, like but I mean big granite, like down in deep valleys, and these things are very old. And I mean where I live too, it's like they say, I mean, I don't another thing with me is too, like unless I see it with my own eyes, I have a hard time accepting it as the truth. Like unless I can
Well,
tangibly
at this
it,
point, I don't blame you.
taste it, touch it, feel it, and then I can say, okay, this is real. I mean, and then it's funny too with the government. Like so many people are like, oh, the government, they lie to us and this and that, but yet let's believe this government department, it doesn't lie. I mean, I mean, they're all dipping their toes in the water. This government department definitely lies, but these scientists over here at NASA, like they tell us the truth. Why would
No,
they lie to us? Like, why would
no,
they? Why would they lie? I mean, I can tell you a million reasons why they
no,
lie
I
because
know.
you have to be fucking controlled.
Right.
And I mean, it's funny today. Like I went,
Well, I want to ask you about that. Okay, hold on a second. I want to reel this in, mostly because James Davis just said 2040 is supposed to be a Phoenix event. I'm not quite clear. I think I might know what he's speaking on, but there does feel to me to because first of all, whenever I think and feel into why all of this control has to be because somebody somewhere does know the truth of who and what we are.
well, absolutely.
Your writings, and one of the reasons that I felt nudged, what's given to me by my internal guidance at this point, and again, I reserve the right to change how I feel about anything at any given moment because I know that I'm only at this point right now. But your writings, you and there's another couple of folks that I've been made privy to that these informations feel correct because I have been just for a few years, really, in terms of, spirituality or whatever, looking into the truth of who and what I am, and therefore who and what humanity is as a whole. And I do at this point in my hypothesis feel as though we are divine and we are much more than we've ever allowed ourselves to believe that we are or that we've ever been told.
You
And
mentioned
so
you mentioned that word divine. Like you've mentioned that repeatedly tonight, like talking.
to me, it feels divine. I don't know how else
What
to.
is divine?
Well, I don't, all I have is my own inner feeling about it.
Which is?
I don't know, pure energy.
Okay, but that energy, like I mean, it has to the energy itself has to originate from somewhere, no?
I guess maybe that's my take on it because of my upbringing. Listen, I freely admit that I was the biggest, bestest Christian on the planet
So
when I was
okay, so
little.
that's where
So
I'm gonna
that's where
correct you
that
now.
comes
So
from.
that word divine, that's exactly where that word originates from,
That's where it comes
and
from.
it's wrong. It's
Well,
totally
okay.
no, but I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I understand because I recognize where it comes from right away, and
Right.
that's why I asked you to clarify
Well,
what
whenever you use the word flame, it always feels like you're
consciousness,
well, it
conscious.
always feels to me like it's the same thing that I feel when I feel the word divine when I use it.
Yeah.
And I'm very well aware, and I say it quite often, that language is a very subjective thing. We might both be speaking English, but you speak Jason English and I speak Sheila English, and they are not the same thing.
No, and I agree with that. And
Right,
English or the vibration of words coming out of our vessels
right.
is not even our original language. We communicate it
Oh, I'm sure you're right.
we communicate telepathically. And
Right.
that's one huge thing that's been basically hidden and suppressed and erased is how we originally communicate.
which
and
is actually partly why
telepathic.
we have these things to keep us from practicing our own.
Well, no, but we communicate with those things telepathically.
Oh, trust me, I know. I have listened, there's been many times, and you know this as good as I do, that you and I have communicated telepathically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. And I know exactly, but just to explain, that is why I use that word. The feeling that I got when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, and the explanation that was given to me was the word divine. And that's why I use that
Yeah.
word.
No, no,
And when
I
you
no,
use the
I
word
understand.
flame,
Yeah.
when you use the word flame, that feels the same to me.
Yeah.
And so when you said consciousness, well, okay, I'll buy that for $1. I feel like that's smack on too. Um, okay, James Davis said that it's supposed to be 2040 is supposed to be a phenomenon, a reset of some sort. And he said, can we handle the truth? It's paradoxical. Can we hold it? And no, good question. I don't know. Uh, Ethereal Progeny wants you to know that you the man, Jason. And Kara said it's a frequency vibe. It's a feeling of expansiveness. Yes, it's flame for Jason. Some say love. True. That word love, though, man, I'm telling you, it means a whole bunch of different stuff to everybody, to be honest with you. Um, And Carr also said to James Davis, perhaps truth is accessed on the level with which it is available to us. That's what I mean when I'm saying where my psyche is. I, 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 from everything that I can gather so far, because I've asked myself, what is it? Why do I not? What's the point? I've watched myself. I've become very observant of my own behavior. And where your writings are concerned, I have a routine that I go through. I look at all the ones that I have been nudged that I know I am to record. And trust me when I tell you, it's quite the lengthy list.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm also only nudged to record certain ones at certain times. And when what I've noticed because I've asked, I'm noticing things about it. And that's what I've come to at the moment. My conclusion is that I'm ready for that at this time. It's not whether the masses are ready because it's out there. The masses can already find it on your page. So it has to do more with whether or not I'm ready. Because what I know about my voice, I do know that it's um, it does activate certain people, not everyone, but it's also an amplification. And it does activate myself, and it's an amplifier as well. So that's why I say yes, Cara. I think that you're right. It's a truth. And again, that's a word that has a lot of connotation to it too. Um, is something that we can only access to a certain if we're ready for it. And again, that's is who decides what is true.
Okay, I gotta run here. So I gotta run here soon, but I want to talk about just a couple quick things before we
Well, you
finish.
go right ahead.
So a number of years ago, my dad had some serious health issues, and they were doing testing on me and my brother, looking for like genetic markers and stuff like that. And I had an appointment with a cardiologist, and he was a East Indian cardiologist, and this is fuck, I can't even remember how old I was, maybe in my early mid 20s. And I go into his office. I've never met this guy. He's a little short East Indian guy. Kind of looks like I thought it was like Gandhi, Gandhi. So I go in there, and right away he starts talking to me about God. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting, like right out of the gate. And I mean, and of course, like I mean, I'm interested, right? Because I mean, that's right up my alley. And he says, he was, you know, the voice in your head that I'm talking about, right? Like the voice in your head. And he says, I'm going to show you how to control your mind. And I'm like, okay, well, here we go. So we're sitting in these chairs in his office, and he's facing me, and he says, I want you to close your eyes. And I said, okay. So we close our eyes. And then he says, do you hear that voice in your head? I said, oh yeah, it talks to me all the time. It talks to me all the time. Like that's my thoughts, my mind, my mind. And he says, okay, he says, so we're gonna close our eyes. So we got our eyes closed. And then he says, I want you to ask yourself this with that silent voice. He says, I want you to ask yourself what your next thought is gonna be. So we're sitting there with our eyes closed, and I say to myself with my mind's eye, I said, "What's my next thought gonna be?" And then he says, and then after we say that, we're gonna listen. So okay, so we're in the chairs, our eyes are closed. We say with our mind's eye, "What is my next thought gonna be?" And then the next instruction is to listen for the next thought. So we're doing this, and about a minute passes, and he says, "What did you hear?" And I said, "Nothing." He says, there you go. He says, now your mind knows you're watching it and you know how to watch it. Because most people, you know, think your mind is you. Okay, well, it's not you. You have an antenna and you pick up thoughts or whatever, wherever they come from, because I don't know the answers to that yet. I mean, if we want, I could probably like develop a thesis on it, which I'm not going to because I don't care. But once I understood that, because for a vast majority of my life, like your mind tells you you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not rich enough, you're not successful enough, you're not this, you're not that. Do you agree with that, Sheila?
Oh, I yes,
So now tell me, if your mind was a part of you, do you really think a part of you would feed you all this negative information about yourself if it was a part of you and it was divine? Absolutely not.
no, you're absolutely right. And I will tell you that I had a really hard time differentiating between the two for a while. And I say the two because there is a part of me, and I will tell you, my housemate, Lisa Flamino Rush, was a huge assistance to me with that. And she said exactly what you just said. That the soul, the larger part of me, the part that has been here the entire time, along with that ego, would never speak to you like that.
It's not you. It's not you. It's not
The
you.
ego, however, has been programmed since birth. And I now recognize when my ego is speaking to me and when my soul is speaking to me. There's I have two. I don't know if everybody does, but I can now differentiate between the two.
Well, when one's telling you nice things and the other one's telling you to kill yourself, like I mean, it's not hard to differentiate between them.
Well, I well, I don't know about you, but
When one's
mine was
feeding
never like that.
positive, no, but when one's feeding positive and one's feeding negative,
No, but see, that's just it. My soul doesn't chitter chatter either. It's not like that.
no, I'm not saying they converse with each other.
Oh,
I'm not saying that, but when I say you have a thought that comes to your mind, when you have a thought that enters your mind, you can say to yourself, okay, is this, you know, if I follow through with this thought, am I going to have a positive outcome or am I going to have a negative outcome?
yeah. See, I don't know. See, it's ever since I started working with the meditation and the watching, I suppose you could call it. I don't have that chatter very much anymore. When I ask
And
my,
I don't have it
I
much anymore either. And
I still have, I do still, when I ask questions, I get answers, but if it's not a nice answer, then I know that's my ego. If it's not so, I don't know how to explain it
well,
exactly.
that's how you identify with
Right,
what it is.
right.
You give it a title, which it basically brings it into existence, and you call it your ego. So that's what it is.
I guess, because I didn't have any other words for it at the time.
No. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I just I want to leave with a few things because I mean we have people in here talking about 2040, and we have people this is what I want to what I want to leave with. Be
Okay.
in the present. Be in the present.
Yes.
Okay? Tomorrow is not promised for any of us. Tomorrow is not promised for any of us.
Too true.
The past is gone. Okay? It's gone. The future, we cannot predict. We cannot predict the future. We can try, we can speculate, okay? But most people, they're either living in the past, okay, and they're depressed and negative and oh, this and that and whatever. They're living in the future and they have anxiety and they're on fucking medication and they're, because I mean, nobody knows how to be in the now, the now.
That's true.
No, nobody has, I mean, there's been th countless books written on it, countless. But I mean, unless you put into practice this stuff, and I'll tell you another thing for me too. Like I said, I'm turning 51. Like I just didn't start doing this stuff a week ago. Okay. I didn't start just doing this a week ago.
Right.
Okay. I've been doing this for a long time, since I was a little kid. So, and I mean, and there's been lots I've learned and lots I've had to go through and lots I was like, hey, this is scary. Like, I mean, I was into the occult and stuff like that, like when I was younger, like really young, and I scared myself. And but it's a part of me. It's a big part of who I am. And then once I was ready, I went back in to learn. And get over my fears of certain things, like certain objects or certain, abilities or whatever. And I had to get to where I am right now, I had to get an understanding of these practices because I
Right.
needed to know them for something. And I have an understanding, I have a great deal of respect because I try to be neutral. Because when you show fear, that's when you're in trouble.
Well, yes, you're right. That's what I meant when I said fear is an invitation. And if you consent to it, you've agreed to be frightened, to be
Well, sure,
afraid.
and I mean look at COVID. All these people running out and lining up for the vaccines. What are they afraid of, Sheila? What are they afraid of? Death.
Death, I know.
They're afraid of death. Well, here's a news flash. Every one of us is gonna die.
Nope, that's right. Nobody gets out of here alive.
Nobody,
Sorry, guys.
nobody gets out of here alive. There's two guarantees in life, okay? Death and taxes. That's it.
Well,
Death and
actually, taxes aren't necessary either, but okay.
No, but those are the guarantees in life. You're going to pay taxes and you're going to die. It doesn't matter if you go to the store and buy an item and there's a tax on it.
Oh,
You
well,
pay
that's
the
true. Yeah, you're
tax.
right. That's right.
Okay, so there's death and taxes. That's the only two guarantees in life.
Yep.
And I mean, and get in the now. I mean, go out into nature, go sit by water, go put your feet in the grass, ground, and write your own story, right? Stop being someone else's story. Stop being a follower. Just be you. Just be you. Write your own story.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like put the books away. Quit, thinking about the future. Quit dwelling in the past. Get in the now. Go sit outside. Breathe in some fresh air. Just breathe and just be.
Yep.
Just be. And
That's good advice,
and
Jason.
when you do that, and when you start doing that over and over, because at first it's not natural. It's not natural. You'll do it once and you'll be like, oh, this is just a waste of my time.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
Yeah.
Get back, send me a message 10, say you're gonna start practicing this today and do it for 10 years and send me a message in 10 years from now and tell me where you're at. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, oh, I did this for a week and nothing happened, nothing changed.
No, I know.
Because
Well, I haven't been doing it for 10 years, but I could tell you.
I was the same way, Sheila. Like I was a hopeless drug addict at one time. Like I accepted my fate of death. And how wrong was I? How wrong I was. But I had to go through all those
Well,
experiences
yeah,
to
absolutely.
get the firsthand knowledge. Because I mean, people go to school and learn about this in a textbook, okay? I lived it. I know what I did, I know what happened, and I know what I did to escape.
Well, that's why I'm in agreement with you, and that's why I understand and why I actually say that each being will have to, it's a matter of where the psyche is in the moment. You're both of us could say this till the cows come home. But if the being isn't ready for it, it doesn't matter what we say. It
Well,
doesn't
I
matter.
remember this one night I was down at a homeless shelter here in the city that I live in, and I did a lot of volunteer. I've done lots of volunteer work with the homeless and the addicted and the broken in Skid Row. I've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours with lots of these people. And I was coming out of this homeless shelter detox place on Skid Row one night, and there's two ways that we can go in there. We can go in through like a staff entrance, or we can go in through where the street people come in. And I always want to go in where the street people go in because I want to see where I can be. And it's awful in there. Like it's awful. Like I mean, you got filth and I mean people dirtier than you can even imagine on mats. I mean, homeless people like that live on the streets, like puke everywhere. I mean, it's a place where they can come out of the weather and have a meal. Like I mean, but they're not bathed, they're not nothing. It's bad. And it never bothered me. It never bothered me. I've been in there hundreds of times, hundreds, and I'd walk through there and I'd say hi to people because those people are me too. Like I mean, I'm not better than I'm not. I'm just a human, just like everyone
Right.
else. They're humans. They're
That's
humans.
right.
And I remember I come out this one night and we were in there for a while. Me and a good friend of mine that's passed away now, and I come home. We got in his car, and I started crying. And he says, "Jesus, Jason." He goes, "This isn't like you." I said, he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand, like why it has to be this way. Like, why? He says, you want to know what he says? He says, it affects you. I can see you're crying, like, because I don't understand. He says, but those people, they're okay with that because that's their life. And they don't see like I see or you see or we see. They don't see that because this is their life to them. And I kind of stopped it and I thought about that and then he said to me, he said, "Do you want to know what one of the greatest sins is?" And I said, "Okay, what's that?" He says, "Interfering with God's will for another person." Interfering. I said, "What does that mean?" He says, "Just think about it. Interfering with God's will for another person." And I was like, hmm. I hear that still in my head 20 years later. I still hear my friends say that to me. And what does that mean? That means, you know, I'll still give my opinions and do whatever because it's up to you to take what I do and do with it as you wish. I don't force anything on anybody. I don't tell you you have. Like
Right.
I said, when we're being conditioned as Christians, when we're children, Sheila and Jason, you will do this or you will burn in hell. I mean. There's no such thing as hell. We've already been through
Oh,
this.
that's right.
I
I
mean,
put a, I
and,
would
and
have,
I mean, when the Council of Nicaea in I don't even know the year, like 300 AD or whenever they got together to put this construct together of Jesus and the whole
yeah, 362 AD,
or
but
whatever it is. I mean, it's like Batman and the Joker. Okay, it's like Jesus and Satan. You can't have the good guy without the villain.
oh, that's true.
You can't have the good guy without the villain. But then I mean you can look at the yin and the yang, the positive and the negative. Like don't get me wrong, like does bad and evil exist? Absolutely it exists. But you have to, but for me, I have to have an equal amount of respect for both.
That's right.
For both. Because
I understand that now. I didn't for a long
because
time.
as soon as I don't have an amount of respect for evil, as evil as it is, okay, that's when something we've also talked about tonight starts to creep in. Fear.
That's right.
Okay, fear. So I keep as much as possible an equal amount of respect for both. Does it mean I agree with it? Oh, of course not.
Right.
But I respect its presence. I respect its presence and I understand that it is also required to be here.
Well, and for me, it's also quite subjective, just like the word love is very subjective as well, because of exactly what you said in regards to interfering with God's.
For someone else.
That's right. It's not for me to, because who decides what's what? I've always had that question. Who decides? Who made that rule?
That's why I said write your own story.
That's right. I
Write
love
your
that.
write your own rules.
That's right. And there's no reason we can't, by the way.
There is no reason.
No, that's right.
If you want to be enslaved, follow the rules.
That's right.
You want to be sovereign, write your own.
Right? Exactly. Well, I love that. That's one of the things I love about you, Jason. And that's been my goal is to become as sovereign a being as I want to be, as my psyche
Allows you to be at the
allows me to
current
be.
moment.
That's right. That's right.
Because when we leave the vessel, this meat suit that we're in,
Right.
don't worry, everything's gonna be fine.
No, I listen. I haven't had the experience you had. It is said that I've left, I've gone. I know that I did die once, but I had no recollection of it. But I have come to that conclusion for myself now. It is not anything like what we were told. And I will point to your story, and I will point also to another book that was sent to me by a viewer that I recorded and is on the channel. If anybody is interested, it's called The Soul's Journey. And it was, again, it was another one of those kinds of things that it was like a validation uh, for me personally. And everything that I've come to feel about the truth of things is that we none of us have all the answers. And if somebody tells you they do, run like hell because all they can give you is what their truth is.
Well, that's all we can give anyone,
I know.
even
Exactly.
everything me and you've discussed tonight is
Exactly.
my truth and your truth, and we just
That's right.
put it out there into the public. And I mean, is it the truth? Like, do we know? No, we don't.
Well, the you know
That's
what?
why none of this matters, Sheila. None of it
Yes, I
matters.
know. And that's why I love you so much, Jason. Just to be clear, I feel as though we are all one and singular all at the same time. It's a multidimensional thing we got going on here. You are just another iteration of consciousness of the one. And the only thing that separates us is the entire time you've been in that vessel versus the entire time I've been in this.
How do we
That
even know?
is
How
what
do we even
forms.
know? How do we even know we're here?
That's right. Honestly, that's it. The perspective and the
But like
perception of the
I've heard
perspective.
people say too, like when we sleep, right?
Right.
Like when we sleep. perhaps right now we're sleeping in our
Could
original
be.
body and this is a dream.
Well, listen, I actually, I've had, and I want to do that. I'm going to say that to everybody who's here now because there are 14 people here. I've done episodes on the channel about called Dreamscape. And I really, is a dreamscape? Or at any rate, the point is, yes, that's a very good question. And the soul's journey absolutely sort of addresses that because it is the body that requires rest, not that which animates it. And I've been shown a few things that are possibilities in regards to that. The consciousness, I I've come to see this physical vessel as like a reverse kaleidoscope, if you will, in that the one inhabits all the different bodies and has their experience because it's narrowed down into this one perspective that looks out through these eyes. And it only has bits and pieces of what it has experienced. That programming and conditioning of the ego, let's say, right, plays into that. And so for me, I think it's really cool to think that, hey, that's Sheila sitting over there in Canada in a different body with different experiences and having a grand old time for the 51 years that that portion of my consciousness has been
That
in.
yeah, you could be true. You could I've written about that.
I know. And again, that's partly why I, like I said, I feel as though, and I really want to thank you for doing that sharing because that's exactly the way I feel. That's why I started the channel in the first place. I originally thought I was going to wake people up.
Hmm.
No, I want to have conversations to explore consciousness. And if somebody tunes in and enjoys it, learns something, feels a certain kind of way, that's a win-win situation. Because I've had a great time and I want to thank you so much for coming and spending time here.
Well,
Because yeah,
I'm just happy you could stay up this late.
me too. Me too, because I'm an old gal, and 4 o'clock comes pretty early.
And another thing I want to say too, like I worked late tonight. We got tied up on I was on a project downtown. We had some crazy stuff going on and whatever. And so I just want to apologize, for, I'm still in a work shirt. I haven't shaved for a week. I mean, I haven't had a shower in 2 days. So I mean, this is just
I'm just happy you could make the
I'll
time to
try to
be
I'll
here.
try to clean up a little bit better
Oh,
for the next one.
okay, but that's up to you.
No promises, no promises. But I just want to, I know you've been after me for a while, and just my time, like my time is really it shouldn't be, but like when I need to shut everything down and whatever, I'm very capable of that. But when I'm not, I micromanage my time. And it's like I know it probably affects a lot of people because I think like I'm ignoring them or I'm doing this or that. But another thing with me is too is like I need a lot of downtime. Like I need a lot of downtime when I'm on downtime. Like I'm just unavailable. And
Right.
and,
No, I
and
understand
and
that.
I mean people that know me understand that. And I mean it's a lot of people they take offense with it. They think I'm ignoring them, I'm doing whatever. I'm just on downtime and my downtime can sometimes go for like an hour, a day, a week, a month, 5 years. I mean I mean it just is what it is. I mean I
Well,
just
and don't apologize for it
no, I'm
either.
not. I don't apologize. Trust me,
Okay.
Sheila. I'm not apologizing.
All
I don't
right, good.
apologize. Very rarely. If I do, like I seen Stephen King apologizing today for something.
Oh.
But anyways, I just want to say thank you
Oh, no, thank you.
and thank you for all the work you do with the recordings and stuff like that. And I remember the first interaction. I'm like, okay, who's this crazy lady? Like she wants to do this recordings. And then I remember playing the first one and now like some of the, like I'm getting closer to a job. Like I'm going on a job that's gonna be really close to home, thankfully, soon. But on the job I'm on now, I'm about a 45-minute commute each way. So I listen to the recordings, and I mean, it's a totally different experience for me even to listen to them with your voice reading them. And I mean, I learn things. I'm like, holy shit, like because I mean, when I'm writing and doing whatever, like I mean, it's almost like well, I mean, it's channeling basically is what it
Oh, I
is.
know. I
And
can tell.
it just comes and then it comes through and then it goes away like I don't care like fuck, could you imagine if I carried all that stuff around with me?
No,
Like, like could you imagine? Like I do have a lot of recall, like I really truly do. Like I have a lot of recall, but I fucking would jump off a bridge. I couldn't deal with it. Like no way. But anyways, I gotta eat. I'm super hungry. It's 10.
Oh, wow. I did not know you didn't do that before you
No,
started
no,
this. Oh,
no.
Jason.
I just actually got home from work like just shortly. I had about a 15-minute power nap before I came on,
Oh,
and
my.
yeah, and I've been going since 5 this morning, so it's been crazy. And I
So
mean, I
you know how I feel. Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
mean I work in a real high stress, high safety, critical stuff, trade and whatever, and it takes a lot out of me, but I feel good. I mean, this went well, and I'm sure at some point we will definitely do another one.
well, I thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And I can go ahead and disconnect because I want to talk.
Disconnecting?
I want to chat with everybody
Okay, yeah,
before.
no, Lindsay, go right ahead. So, anyways, everybody, and Sheila, thank you very much, and have a wonderful weekend.
Okay. Thank you, Jason, for
Okay, am I
coming.
am I off or what?
No, you will be in just a moment.
Three,
Well,
two,
wait a
one.
minute. Let's see. I think you will. Yeah, here we go. It just take me a second. A minute. Why is that? Okay, there we go. Bye, Jason. I'll
Bye.
contact you outside of this,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody stick around for a second, okay? There we go. All right. We'll let Jason go. There. Now, I want to thank all of you for coming and hanging out with me and Jason this evening. I wanted to say to all of you that have come and participated here, if you find yourself at a point where you would like to have conscious conversation, please do reach out to me at consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. That was my original channel. I kept that email. And, let me know what you want to talk about. Personally, there's a lot of topics that I really do want to address on the channel. I do feel as though I've known for some time that these conversations help me. And that's what this has always been about. And so if you find them entertaining or you enjoy them, that just like I said before, it's a win-win situation. So I want to thank you guys all for coming. I will be having more of these as time goes on. There are folks who have contacted me that are working up the courage to do it with me. I don't know why, you know, I know that the ability to have conversation has been lost in many ways. And I feel as though this is an opportunity for folks to be able to see what having a conversation looks like. I don't know. Anyway, that's all. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. I will be also conducting an intuitive hangout session. Again, I haven't done one of those on this channel in a while. It's a way for me to work on my abilities to hear my larger self communicate with me by pulling cards for you. So if you're ever interested in that, I never know exactly when that's going to happen. So you just have to be subscribed to the channel and have notifications going. And thank you guys all for being here. Mwah. I hope that you will move towards that which draws you. because there's something there for you. Um, James Whitkiss, one of the OG for the Dreamscape conversations. I want to do some more dream space, not dreamscape. See, it's been so long, James. Because what the dream space is, what is it exactly? I think it's way more than what we've allowed ourselves to believe it is as well. And James is someone who does a lot of universal travel in his dreams. And so if you are at a space where you would, and it doesn't all have to be recorded and shared, and it certainly doesn't have to be live, we can just record it and then share it. But if you want to have conscious conversation, but you're worried about being recorded, I don't mind. We can have conversation and not record it. So reach out, and if you feel so drawn. James had been getting some more of the Montauk project information memories. Hey, we need to get together and have an old fashioned catch up anyway, James. So please let me know when you're available and we'll make that happen. And James Davis, I think you and I were supposed to have a conversation as well. Um, Please know this has to come from y'all. Y'all have to let me know when you're available, when you'd like to have the conversation. The offer and the opportunity is out there. The invitation, I should say, has been issued. Ball is in your court. Until we meet again, my friends, be well. And I heard another reader say this, Cindy from Awakening with Spirit. She always ends her recordings by saying, be gentle with yourselves. And that's something that I've been working on for myself. So I want for all of you to be gentle with yourselves as well. Because gosh